So I finally had some time to do another YouTube video, and the focus for this one is antique telescopes. Now I've got two of them here, and these are the things I'm going to be talking about today. The telescope, the refracting telescope, was invented in the early 17th century, and the basic design has remained essentially unchanged over the last 400 odd years. And the telescopes I have here are from the Victorian era, so it'll be about mid to late 1800s. And this video is just a quick rundown of how to look after your antique telescopes, how to clean them, and what to look for if you should decide to buy one. Now, most antique telescopes that you'll find will be of this style, this basic style, which really was unchanged for hundreds and hundreds of years. Once they got a design and a system working that they really liked, basically all telescopes were made the same way. And from the I'd say late 1700s right up to the first quarter of the 20th century, most telescopes had the same basic components. So I'll just take you through that. Now what we have here is a small, these were called pocket telescopes or gentlemen's telescopes, because you use these to walk around your country estates and go hunting and all that kind of stuff. A pocket telescope is about 6 inches long, and it will generally open up to about anywhere from 16 to 18 inches in total length. And this is the basic design. So what we have here at the end is the eyepiece and the eyepiece shutter. So that just slides open and shut like that. Then we have the draw tubes. Now, telescopes are classified by the number of draw tubes. This is a 3-draw telescope. Then at the end, we have the barrel, and it's covered in leather. Not all telescopes were covered in leather. Some were covered in wood. Some were all metal. It really depends on the manufacturer. Then at the end, we have the lens cap. Now, on a lot of antique telescopes, these will be missing. You will often just find an antique telescope in a shop or at the flea market or even online, and it'll just be sitting there like this. That's very common. Now, holding the telescope together are these things. One here, here, and there's another one here. These are the coupling rings. And these telescopes really were designed to be user-friendly. The whole point of their construction was that you, as the owner, could pull these apart very easily at home to clean them and maintain them without needing any special tools or equipment or anything like that. Now, these telescopes typically come with 6 lenses, and I'm going to show you where they all are. So I'll take this off. The first 2 lenses are here. This is an achromatic lens at the front, the objective lens, which is made up of 2 lenses glued together. or layered one on top of the other. So there's two there. At the other end, we have two more lenses. One there, one there. This is the eyepiece cartridge. So that just slots in there like that. Most antique telescopes from the 1800s will be set up the same way as this. So that just screws down like that. Incidentally, if this eyepiece shutter is loose and it wobbles around, a really easy way to fix it is just to unscrew this and tighten the screw in there to improve how well this slides and opens and closes. It's really simple construction. Like I said, these were designed to be user-friendly. So I'll pop that back on like that. Then if we pull this out and unscrew it here at the first coupling ring, pop that down, we have even more lenses. So here's another one, and if I unscrew this, there will be another one in there. This is the erector cartridge, so that's two more lenses, making a total of 6. Now, when you buy one of these telescopes, chances are it has not been cleaned in decades. Dust will get in absolutely everywhere, and as you can probably guess, these couplings are not airtight, so dust and grit will get in everywhere. So when you do buy one of these antique telescopes, it's a very good idea to pull it apart right down to all its component pieces. So, like, you know, even unscrew that, for example, and clean, blow out the dust, wipe down every single lens surface that you can to clean the telescope. Because if you don't, the smallest amounts of grit on these lenses is going to affect the quality of the view down the telescope. And I mean the smallest piece of grit. It can be just one particle of dust, and when it's magnified through the lenses, it will look like the size of a pea. So any grit at all has to be very carefully removed. So I'll just pop that back like that. And another issue that you will find on old telescopes is that the draw tubes will jam. This is very, very common. Basically what happens is, like I said, grit and dust gets in here and the whole thing just seizes up because of the grime. And there are numerous ways to rectify this. You can pull the whole thing apart and clean it. You can wipe it down with tissue paper. You will almost certainly need some sort of lubricant to wash out the grime. I would strongly suggest sewing machine oil. If you don't have sewing machine oil, you can use WD-40. I wouldn't recommend that as a first resort, however, because WD-40 smells horrible and you will be using a lot of it to clean out the grime. So I would really avoid using any kind of lubricant which has a strong odor, because you will be using a lot of it to clean out all the grit inside these telescopes. Can take days. On this big chunky one here, I was cleaning this for up to a month to get out all the grime. And anyway, I'll just talk about this one now. This is a much bigger telescope, obviously. This is a small little this is a small terrestrial telescope, pocket telescope, very common during the 19th and early 20th centuries, you could go into an optician's shop and buy one of these behind the counter. This is a naval or maritime telescope. These were the ones that would have been given to officers on ships, sea captains, stuff like that. During the 18th and 19th centuries, and well into the 20th century, telescopes were seen as the naval officer's badge of office. These would have been very, very expensive when they were brand new. They would have cost several tens of dollars, several tens of pounds, and it was not uncommon for captains or naval officers to receive these as gifts, and they would have carried them with pride. If you look at a lot of old portraits of naval officers from the 1800s, 1700s, a lot of them will be painted holding their telescopes, and that was a point of pride for them. So this is a much larger 4-jaw telescope, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it is constructed in exactly the same way. It has 2 lenses here, 2 lenses here, and 2 lenses in here. And yeah, there you have it. But yeah, like I said, telescopes, especially these larger ones, really were seen as a naval officer's badge of office. In fact, there's a very interesting story about the Titanic. When the Titanic sank in 1912, 5th Officer Harold Lowe went back in one of the empty lifeboats to try and rescue survivors. And when they got to New York, one of the lady passengers on the Titanic, who was rescued, wanted to reward Lowe for his courage and bravery. And she tried to give him money. She tried at least 2 or 3 times to give him substantial cash rewards for his heroism. And he absolutely refused to accept any money at all, saying that it was his duty as an officer and a gentleman to save as many people as he could. And in the end, she gave up trying to give him money, and she actually bought him a naval telescope, similar in style to what I have here. This is from the mid-1800s. This is about 1850, 1860. But like I said, they produced the same styles for decades and decades and decades. So she gave him a telescope not unlike this one, and she had it lovingly engraved to him as a gesture of thanks. I mean, it just shows you for how long telescopes were seen by those in the seafaring community as a badge of office, as something worthy of commemoration, of reward, just because of the symbolism, but also because of how expensive they were and the prestige that went with them. To be given one of these as a prize or a reward was a really big deal in those days. If you want to find out more about antique optical equipment, antique telescopes, binoculars, opera glasses, then please feel free to visit my blog. I do like writing about this stuff and researching it and posting photographs of this stuff on my blog, so feel free to drop by and have a look. There is a link to my blog in the description below. Thank you very much for watching.